Hello student, Assalamu alaikum. We have started abnormal labor in which we have already discussed about dysfunctional uterine activity, and today we are going to discuss about the capillopelvic disproportion. So what is the capillopelvic disproportion? In capillopelvic disproportion, basically there is mismatch between the fetal head and the pelvis. There is mismatch between the head and the pelvis. Either the head is too large or the pelvis is too small. Either the head is large for the pelvis or the pelvis is too small for the head. This result in capillopelvic disproportion, due to which the progress of the labor becomes slow and it leads to prolonged labor. So basically there are problem in capillopelvic disproportion. There are problem either in the passenger or in the passage. The fetus is called the passenger, or otherwise we can say that the head of the fetus is called the passenger, or the whole fetus is called the passenger. While in the passage there are basically two passages, the soft passage and the hard passage. What are the problem in the passenger which lead to capillopelvic disproportion? These are basically the macrosomia, that is the big or large head. If the head is too large or too big to pass through the pelvis, this will lead to capillopelvic disproportion. There are head and neck tumor in which thyroid tumor is common, due to which the passenger is large and is unable to pass through the pelvis. There is also hydrocephaly. There are also fetal aside, that is the accumulation of fluid in the cavities of the fetus. If there are twin pregnancy, there are two fetuses, it will be difficult for them to pass through the pelvis, and this will lead to capillopelvic disproportion. If the lie is oblique or transverse, this can cause capillopelvic disproportion. What is oblique lie? If this is the abdomen and the fetus is lying like this is called oblique lie. But if the fetus is lying transversely, then it is called the transverse lie. In both cases, capillopelvic disproportion can occur, and in position, if the head fail to rotate to occipito-anterior position and remain in the occipito-posterior position, this can cause capillopelvic disproportion. And this can lead to prolonged labor. What is occipito-anterior position? In occipito-anterior position, the occiput of the fetal head touches the symphysis pubis. They are in relation with each other. The occiput touches lie against the symphysis pubis, while in the occipito-posterior position, the face lie against the pubis, so which result in prolonged labor. In male presentation, the breech presentation, the face presentation, and the brow presentation. In the face presentation, the progress is poor, but vaginal delivery is possible. In the brow presentation, bro cannot be delivered vaginally, while in the breech presentation, the presenting part is the buttocks of the fetus. In normal pregnancy, the presenting part will be the head of the fetus, but in the breech presentation, there will be either buttock or the feet or the legs of the fetus will be the presenting part. It causes in difficult labor and in prolonged labor. So first we will do external capillary coercion, and then we will do vaginal delivery, and it can lead to prolonged labor. And if there is shoulder presentation, it can also lead to prolonged labor. So what are the problems in the passage which lead to capillopelvic disproportion? There are two passages, basically hard passage and soft passage. In the hard passage, if there is any previous fracture, or if there is diseases like metabolic diseases like osteoporosis, due to which the cavity get narrowed, or there is inflammation, or there is collapse of bone due to fracture, it can lead to narrowing of the cavity, and it will lead to capillopelvic disproportion. And if there is a female is a short stature woman, in short stature woman, the pelvis is usually narrow, due to which the head is unable to pass easily through the pelvis and lead to capillopelvic disproportion. In soft passage, there are basically two things. One is the cervix, and other is the uterus. If there is fibroid in the lower segment of the uterus, this will cause difficulty for the head to engage and to pass through the pelvis. And if there is polyp in the lower segment of the uterus, it can also lead to prolonged labor. cervix, cervical dystocia lead to capillopelvic disproportion and prolonged labor. What is cervical dystocia? Is if a female has undergone cervical biopsy or cervical surgery, then after that biopsy, if there is scarring occur in the cervix, due to scarring, the cervix is unable to dilate in the labor, in the pregnancy. If previously the patient has undergone cervical biopsy and after cervical biopsy she has developed scarring of the cervix, then the cervix will be so rigid and it will be unable to dilate in the pregnancy, and this inability of the cervix to dilate in the labor is called cervical dystocia, and in this case we will do C-section. If there are tumor of the rectum lie posterior to the cervix, lie posterior to the vulva and cervix. So if there is any tumor of the rectum or any tumor of the bladder lie anteriorly to the uterus, bladder lie anterior to the uterus. So if there is any tumor of the bladder, any tumor of the rectum, it will pressurize the soap passage, it will pressurize the cervix, it will pressurize the uterus, and will result in difficult and prolonged labor. And ovarian masses and pelvic masses can also cause capillopelvic disproportion. Now how we will manage the patient? We will first take the history. In the history there will be history of prolonged rupture of amniotic membrane. That if the female is in prolonged labor, how we are going to diagnose that prolonged labor? There will be a history of prolonged rupture of membrane, and there will be a history of prolonged labor. Normally the labor, if the labor is more than 12 hour in nullipara, and if it is more than 8 hour in multipara, if more than 12 hour in nullipara and more than 8 hour in multipara, it is called prolonged labor. So we will take the history. If the history is of prolonged labor, or if the amniotic membrane has been ruptured for a long time, or if there is history of dyspnea and palpitation, in the history we will ask about this thing, and then in the general physical examination we will do inspection. Leave this thing for some time, we will discuss it a bit later. In the general physical examination we will first do inspection. In inspection the patient will be exhausted. If the patient is in prolonged labor due to capillopelvic disproportion, she will be exhausted, she will be anxious looking, her tongue will be dry, she will have acidotic breathing, and if we check her pulse rate will be high, more than 100, and her BP will be low, and there will be a mild temperature. And per abdominal examination, if we examine her per abdominally, her uterus will be hyper contracted, that is there will be more than 5 contraction every 10 minutes. Normally there are 3 to 4 contraction every 10 minutes, but if there are more than 5 contraction every 10 minutes, then it is called hypercontracted uterus, and the uterus will also be tender in such women, and the uterus will be unable to relax in between the contraction. If the uterus is contracting simultaneously and is unable to relax in between, this will cause fetal hypoxia. We know that during contraction of the uterus, the blood supply to the placenta, decreases, due to which the blood supply to the fetus decreases, due to which the fetus hypoxia occur, and this fetal hypoxia and decreased blood supply is called fetal compromise. So the fetal compromise occur. So if the uterus is unable to relax between contraction and there are more than 5 contraction, it can lead to fetal compromise.